Hi everyone, today I thought I'd do something a little bit different and do an unboxing video. I guess you could say it's an uncrating video of this Northern Tools 60-inch PTO driven brush mowing deck. I had this shipped to a commercial address to save a little bit of money on shipping and borrowed a box truck to bring it back to our place. Overall, it arrived in very good condition, just a couple of minor dents in the framing, probably just from it being picked up or something by a forklift. One little sign of damage, and that's this little instruction manual that's bolted to the frame, and the plastic stand for it was just broken off. I'll just remove the whole thing. All the parts that need to be assembled are just wire tied onto the frame, and they'll just pop right off. I was originally going to get a vertical flail style mower instead of this one. They are a bit more expensive, but my little tractor just doesn't have enough horsepower to run one of those. The rest of the crate is welded together, one big piece, which is sort of unfortunate because the mower deck sits on top of this, so it's difficult to get it out. It would have been nice if they just put a couple bolts on those corners also. You could have unbolted the frame and left this piece underneath the mower deck, and I'm finished doing the assembly. So I'm either going to have to cut it or use some brute force and just slide it, try to get it slid out from underneath it. So at this point my microphone must have died on the camera, so I'll have to do some voiceover on a section of this video. Here I am just trying to use the hammer to pound some of the frame out of the way to get it off the mower deck, and it was a futile effort. So then I just resorted to using my 4.5-inch angle grinder and cut off the steel side pieces, and that worked out really well. The user manual has a bunch of inconsistencies with it. It states that this lifting arm is not assembled, and it's actually nice that it does come pre-assembled. It saves a lot of time. So just making some adjustments to it. The pins that go into the 3-point hitch are in the wrong position for me, so I just have to make an adjustment to those and get them set into the right spot. But overall, this piece goes in very easily. There's a diagonal brace that's attached from the lifting mechanism to the rear wheel assembly. Manual wasn't really clear on where all the positions of these pieces go, but once I got it together I realized I put it together wrong the first time and moved the brackets out so that they were on the outside of the brace on the frame, and then the wheel assembly is on the inside part of the frame. The wheel bracket has this little piece that's used to adjust the elevation of it. For now I just set it at its highest elevation so it would make it easier for me to put the wheel on, and then once I get it attached to the mower deck I can lower it down a little bit to its final position. The user manual makes no mention about the chain guard and bolting that into the right spot, so it wasn't too hard to figure out that it just needed to be turned around and bolted in so the chains were dangling down through the exit of the mower deck. The wheel isn't complicated at all. Just slip it into place and put in its pin, and it does need some grease at the pivot point and at the axle of the wheel. Now that everything looks like it's in the right spot, I went through and tightened up all the bolts. I'm glad I waited to tighten it up because I did have to move a few pieces around and make adjustments. I also wanted to note that after running this for a little bit, you should go back and check all your bolts. I did miss one that wasn't completely tight, and I was glad I got it tightened up so I didn't lose it. This is the biggest problem that I've found with this mower deck so far. This top piece is the connector that goes to the top arm of the 3-point hitch, and it's supposed to float in here so that way when the mower deck is going up and down it's not jarring at the tractor, and this sort of helps that deck to float. Well, the weld on the cross piece, the welding goes over the edge of it, so when the pieces are put together, it scrapes against it and binds, so it doesn't move freely. I did take my angle grinder and removed the excess welding off of this. Of course, it grinds off all the paint and everything and exposes that, so later on I did repaint this piece. And then when I did put the assembly back in, after tightening down the bolt, it still was scraping a little bit. And in the middle of this there is a spacer pin that's a few inches wide, and even that pin is cut a little bit short. As a little side note, I did find another piece of piping in my collection of junk, and it happens to be the exact same diameter. So I cut a new piece, and it's just about a 1/16 or so longer than the other one, so that's going to become my new spacer. Also found a can of Rust-Oleum enamel, so we're just going to touch up the parts I scraped off earlier. Much better. Now I know they don't like shipping products with oil in it, but it would be nice if they had it in it. So this gearbox needs to be filled with some gear oil. Of course I'll spill half of it on here. The PTO shaft on. This acts as the shear pin, so if you really whack something hard, this bolt should snap. While I have my paint can out, I might as well touch up a few spots that got scratched during shipping. Need to move this to a flat surface so I can get it leveled out, lift it up and cut the wires that are holding the blade in place, and then I can connect the PTO on. So I've put a couple hours on this mower now, and it seems to be doing a great job. It can handle grasses all the way up to some pretty hefty brush. I think I went over a few things that were 1.5 inches or so, and it ground them up without any problems. I did hit a couple of nice rocks with it. Didn't seem to do it too much damage. Saw the rocks come flying out of the back. So you definitely don't want anybody near you when you're working this thing either. The construction is pretty good. It's fairly thick gauge steel, and for the price it's really hard to beat it. I think I was a little over $1,000 after shipping to get this. The most frustrating part of this was that bracket that I had to adjust up at the top of the 3-point hitch to get it to swing freely. You probably could get away without having that swing, but I just wanted it to be perfect. The only other thing that I had a problem with, and it's not the mower deck at all, it's my driving, is that I broke the muffler off the tractor when I was driving too close to a few branches that were hanging low by the edge of the field. So that was quite unfortunate, and another $80 in repairs that I have to do into this tractor. So I hope you like the uncrating and review of this video. Hopefully in the future I can do some more like this. And thanks for watching.